This is Charles. I'm from Wordful.com, and I'm here with John Chow at Affiliate.com Live.
I'm going to be bringing up our MC in just a minute for you. To let you know, obviously you can see we're a little light today. That's typical for Las Vegas, and people wait. We've got actually 350 seats in here for 400 people.
Stephen Pierce talks about it. C.R. Becker, a lot of people talk about this. That basically your conditioning, how you grew up, what your parents told you, what you heard at school, etc., that led to the beliefs that you have, your belief system. Okay? Now think about this. All of this is still in the invisible world. It's in your thought process. You don't see it. You know, it's not like it's out there. You can see it. It's just in your mind. And that basically that conditioning leads to your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, attitudes you may have about things. And those thoughts, that belief system cascades them into your judgments, your choices, your decisions. And all of that is still happening in the invisible world. What happens then is that cascades then into the physical world. It kind of goes through that barrier, and from that point on, it moves into actions and then results, right? And we all want to change our results. You may be very successful right now. Every single person in this room, you may be super highly successful right now, but all of us want to achieve something more. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to achieve something else. And so we all want to change our results. And what most people do is they change their actions, or they try a different action to try and get a different result. So people might go to a seminar to get a different result. People might move to a different city to get a different result. People might try a different strategy to get a different result. People might change relationships to get a different result. But here's the fact. People tend to end up earning exactly the same amount of money, in exactly the same kind of relationship, or in exactly the same shitty job, because they haven't gone upstream to observe and identify what their limiting beliefs are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
There's no reason why you can't do anything, and come to find out that she had come from a very broken home where her parents had abandoned her, and basically when she was very young, came from hardly no money, worked several jobs to pay for not only her own college and medical school and everything, but also pay for even her high school, because she wanted to go to a private Catholic school to get the best education. And so whenever I would say things like, man, I always wanted to be a lawyer, and she would say, well, why don't you? And I'd say, well, because I'd come up with all these excuses why I couldn't, right? And she said, well, the path is all laid out for you. There's no secret to becoming a lawyer. You do X, 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 and X. And, and my wife is no, super IQ person. She's, barely made it through medical school, she says. And, to be honest, to her, life is just very simple. There's no excuses for anything. There's work that has to be done, and you do it. Someone gives you basically a bunch of assignments to do. So I kind of started to slowly adopt this philosophy to where basically I didn't allow myself to have any excuses. And so, one day I was like, I should really get in shape. And she was like, well, why don't you go to the gym? And I'm like, well, because, and she's like, I'll tell you what, let's go to the gym, and on the way there you can tell me all the excuses as to why you can't go to the gym. And I was like, she's like, you and people, she's like, you guys devote so much time to creating in your mind all these reasons why you can't do this. And what I've come to realize is you actually create all these reasons of why you can't be successful in your head, which is basically what it boils down to.
Raise your hand if you're in that situation. You listened to somebody and they let you down. Well, I hope not to let you down today. And I want to give you the opportunity to learn about a specific thing that's really helped me out, and Donna alluded to it a little while ago. Before that, my brother and I have regained our brotherhood, our friendship. This is him. And one of the reasons why I do what I do now is because I can help him with his family and his kids. And they're growing to the age where the oldest is getting ready to go off to college, and the others are getting ready to have all the expenses of high school and growing up. And I don't have kids myself, so they're basically like my kids, and I get to be part of their life more because of the kinds of things I'm about to share with you. Okay? So what you're going to get from today's session, from this particular training, is I want to show you a path and a specific strategy on how to finally get things done and get them done faster. How many of you have a lot of things that you're trying to do and none of them seem to be able to get done? Come on, you can admit that. I know it's still after lunch, but I can imagine each of you have that situation for yourself. Well,
yeah, excellent. And you're all here to learn how to make some money online, right?
Yeah.
because if you're here to learn how to train your dog, it's probably not the right seminar. So what I'm going to share with you today in the next hour and a half is how to make over $1 million on ClickBank in the next 180 days. I'm ambitious, all right? That's what we're shooting for today. Now, because Mike is here in the room, I should put /pay.com as well. What I'm about to teach you here pretty much applies to pay.com as well, all right? So that's what we're going to cover today.
Maybe a few $100s a month more. Again, just have some extra spending money. And again, I was in, college full-time, one of the top universities for psychology. And I didn't have a ton of free time or anything like that, but I found time on the side to just play around online. And one of the first sites I had was it was a guide related to the wedding market that I probably spent at least, I want to say, a month and a half writing. It was maybe like, I want to say maybe like a less than a 20-page guide or so. And when I got that up, how much do you think I made in my first month of that? Yes, it was a $19 guide. Zero? Two a grand? Zero. What's with that? Guesses? Okay. So zero, two grand. Actually, I made 2 sales, and I made just shy of $40. But how many in this room view that as a failure? How many view that as a success? It was, because I made $40 in my sleep. And I took what I learned from there and tried to apply it to a lot of other markets and so forth. And then one day, I woke up and I realized I was doing what everyone else was online. I was building websites, I was building a squeeze page, I was trying to do pay-per-click and send them here and there, and I was really waiting for the leads to come to me. And I thought, well, gee, I wonder if I have to do that. I wonder if there could be a better way. I wonder if instead I could go to the leads, if I could find the leads out there online. So in about a day's time, I set out to just test that in just one of my markets. And a day later, I realized in that one day's time, doing just that, spending about a half day going out finding leads online, I made just shy of $1.5 grand in that one day. Now keep in mind prior, I was lucky if I was doing a few $100 a month or so, because I treated this just as a hobby, basically. And that was really my wake-up call. It was, gee, I really need to treat this as a business instead of just a hobby. So I applied that method of going to leads instead of waiting for them to come to you in all of my other markets. And by the time I was done with college, originally I thought of, once I had my bachelor's, I'd go and get a PhD and all that stuff. But once I saw the opportunities online, once I got a feel for making money online, by the time I was done, there's really no need for me to go on for a PhD. I was already making more than I could if I pursued a PhD or anything like that. So I never really looked back since, and I enjoyed it online. And some of the methods that I learned then and that I've changed since then, I'll actually show you some live demonstrations a little bit later about how you can get leads. And I'll even reveal the exact market that I was in that got me $1.5 grand in one day's time. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right.